Okay, so this is the hospital employee doctor surgeon program where it's the first demonstration of inheritance, and we're going to go through the basics of inheritance. But um, to me, these UML models start making a lot more, or become a lot more important when you're dealing with inheritance because you're going to have multiple layers of information. So at the top of this, and again, think about this kind of like the animal hierarchy type charts that you've seen, where you've got mammals at the very top, and then you can break that down and go further down the animal hierarchy. Anyway, at the top here we have a hospital employee. And the hospital employee will get a string name and an int number. It will have a void set name and set number method. Name will accept an employee name, and number will accept an employee. The set name will accept employee name, and the set number will accept an employee number. You'll then be able to string get the name, and this will return the name, and get the number will return the number. Then we'll have a toString method and a work method. So a doctor is a hospital employee, but you can have lots of different types of hospital employees. And the largest program that we have, they'll have a lot of different types of employees in a different type program that we write. But a doctor is a specific type of hospital employee, okay? But you could have janitors and all other sorts of things. So a doctor has a specialty, and they have a set specialty and get specialty, a toString and a diagnose. But because we're extending, and maybe the arrows are kind of interesting. In my mind, I have the arrow, a doctor is a hospital employee, and a surgeon is because these is relationships, this word is become important. So the doctor is a hospital employee, and a surgeon is a doctor. Now, when we use this word extends, the arrows might come in better handy doing this when we use the word extends, because what's going to happen, and I'll draw out a couple of these shapes. So is that the whole purpose of inheritance is that you don't have to rewrite code, and we have code reusability. A hospital employee has a name and a number, and since it's already written in hospital employee, what you do is you extend and inherit in the name and number into doctor, and that gets inherited in again into surgeon. And so that's where this arrow is going down would look, that's how you would typically see it. But I initially drew it, the arrows going up, because I like this idea of this is a relationship, and how you would think about, is a hospital employee a doctor necessarily? No. But a doctor is a hospital employee. A surgeon is a type of doctor. Is a doctor necessarily a surgeon? No. Okay. So anyway, I've got our main hospital driver set up, which is just our main. So we'll have a hospital employee, and that hospital employee will be named Vito. And they are a new hospital employee. Okay, and we'll pass in their name and their employee number right there, okay? So let me hospital employee See, the error should go away if I spelled it right. I might have spelled it wrong. Hospital employee. I'll just copy that, and well, there's still going to be errors here because I got to create my so let's do this. So we'll create a private string name and a private int number, and we'll say public hospital employee. And right here I passed in the name and the number, so I got to accept those. So string, we'll call them emp name and emp number. Int. So we'll have name equal to the emp name, and the number equal to the emp number. Okay, so that should take care of that. All right, so this will also know the set name. So, if we mess up on the name that's being passed into the constructor, we can reset it. So it'd be string emp name, and we would say name equals emp name. And same thing here, public set number, and you can accept the employee number, emp number, and number is equal to emp number. Okay, so again, I just kind of go through this. So we did both of those methods. Now we need a get name and get number. So this is string, instead of setting it, I'm getting it. And I'm going to return the name and set the number. That's going to be an int. And I'm going to call it get. And I will return the number. Okay. And then what's my next thing? ToString and then work. Okay. So I'm just going to give the person's name out for the ToString. So return name plus their employee number. Okay, so and their work will be, just system.out.println name plus works for the hospital. Okay, so right here, when I can print the employee. Whoops. Don't want to do that. That creates major issues. So we can print the employee. So I can print my object. This would call the ToString, so that would return, Vito and his number 123. Okay, and I can then invoke the specific methods of the objects. Okay, Vito.work. Okay, and it would just say Vito works for the hospital there. Okay. So next up, I can create a doctor, and I'll just say Dr. George, because that was my orthodontist when I was growing up as a kid. So I'd say new doctor. And the doctor, in this case, is going to have a name. He's gonna have a number, and we'll just say, let's just do that, orthodontist. Even though most orthodontists don't work at hospitals, but either way, who cares? Just put that in there. So I want to go to my package, my main hospital, and say new Java class, and call it doctor. Now, notice now we've got a few different classes in here, which we've only worked with the main and then the class. We're now starting to work with multiple ones, okay? So the doctor is going to have a private string called specialty. In this case, Dr. George is an orthodontist. So public. Now, okay, before we do that, we can't just say doctor. We have to say extends hospital employee, because we want the doctor to know everything about the hospital employee, okay? The hospital employee knows the name and number. So by extending it, we should be able to inherit the name and the number, okay, the employee number. So I'll say doctor, and we'll say string emp name, int emp name, string special. Okay. Now this is going to be new and look a little bit funky for you, okay? So we don't do these two the exact same as this right here, okay? We use this word super because this is the superclass of this. So the hospital employee is the superclass of doctor, and doctor is the superclass of surgeon, okay? So everything gets inherited down. So we'll say emp name and emp number. Those get inherited down, and I'll say my specialty is equal to special. Whoops, this should be emp number. Okay, so that fixes that. So we inherit everything from the superclass, all right, which is the emp name and emp number, okay? We get those supered in, okay? Okay, then we can do our, let's go in here. So we got to do these 4 different methods, okay? We got to set the specialty, get the specialty, do our toString, and then diagnose. So public void set specialty. Okay. So we get the specialty. Now watch this. Return super dot toString plus So what this will do, this will inherit the toString of the hospital employee right here. So it would say George works for the hospital, tab, and then this specialty orthodontist. Okay? So then what we can do is we can do public void diagnose, and we'll say get name plus is an okay. So then we can say George dot diagnose, and we can do our toString on George right here. So let's run this now. The first time I didn't really run it because it's what we've been doing for the last couple years. So Vito and 123 prints, George 234 orthodontist, Vito works for the hospital, George is an orthodontist doctor. Okay. So that looks good so far. It looks great. So then the next one up, or down, I guess, would be the surgeon. And the only thing surgeon is going to know is operating, because it's going to, inherit everything from above here and in here. So it will know the name, number, and the specialty. Okay. So we could say surgeon, and I'll just say the surgeon's name is Dan, equals new surgeon, and they will have a name, an employee number, and we'll say he's a brain surgeon and he's operating, so that's true. So let's get in here, right click and say new Java class called surgeon. Now surgeon, okay, if we look at our where we're doing this, surgeon is going to inherit everything from doctor, which inherits everything from hospital employee. Okay. All right, so then we need to extends doctor, the doctor class. Okay, and we'll say private Boolean operating, and we can say public surgeon, and we'll say string emp name int emp number string special, and Boolean is oper. Okay. So we need to super in our inherited variables. So we'll say emp name, emp number, and special. And what's new to the class is operating. Operating equals is oper. Okay. Then we have a public void set is operating. So if we screw up the, right here, this variable, we can reset it. If we screw up operating, we can reset it. So Boolean is oper. And then we say operating equals is oper. Then we can get the is operator, so public boolean get is operating, where we return operating. Then we got our public string, toString, and I'll just say here return super.toString. So this will get, you know, the name, the number, you know, what did we do here? This got, so in doctor, we got the name and number from hospital employee and then specialty. So this will give us the name, number, and specialty. And then we'll say plus so, and then, whoops. Okay. And then we can do a, you know, a simple, you know, public void operate. This is kind of slick. So system.out.print get name plus is, and I'll say if not operating. So if he's not operating, we'll print system.out.println or print, and I'll say not so if he's not operating, it would say not, and if he is, he, you know, is operating now. Okay, so what did I do here? Oh, I think this needs to be lowercase. I don't know why I did that. All right, anyway, so now we go back to the hospital, or to the main hospital, and we want to do the println of Dan, and we would say what? Dan dot what is it called? What did I name it? Operate. All right, so let's look at this now. So we knew Vito and George are okay. So Dan has his name here, and sorry, this is small. Dan, his number is a brain. Operating is true. Dan is operating now. Okay. So, you know, what we learned here is that, you know, we learned about is a relationship. So a doctor is a hospital employee, and it extends all the information from hospital employee. So you pass in everything created from the hospital employee, and then you add what's specific, just what's specific to your class, which is special or specialty. You inherit in the employee name and number from above, and then you don't have to worry about it again. All you have to focus on are the private variables for just specifically this class. This is called encapsulation. You're encapsulating your class with its private variables so that, you know, the hospital employee can't go out and change the specialty variable in doctor, or the doctor class can't change the operating variable in surgeon, because they're private, that they can only be changed in here. So the only way you can change it is through its public methods. Okay, so you want to keep the methods public but your variable's private. And I have never done that until this chapter. And it's something that they do look for in AP, and I've always just made our variables just like Boolean operating. But in this case, what we want to start doing is make our variables private and make sure that our methods are public. And I explain all that stuff in the notes and some of the other stuff that I've done in the videos prior to this. Okay, so we also learned about the super keyword, where we're inheriting the employee name and employee number from the hospital class, so those variables are supered in. So you can still use them and call on them, but you couldn't change them in here. You'd have to use like the public methods, get name, in order to get the name of the person, you know, of like the doctor. What do we call him? George. So anyway, make sure you guys are typing this out and copying this stuff in and testing and everything. So this video's done.